Hello and welcome back to Tom's Tourney 2017, the 25th running of this iconic tournament here in the beautiful city of Bruges in Belgium. Coming up towards the end of the day now, but don't worry because we've still got some fantastic Frisbee action for you, including this Open Division 2 quarter-final between the French team Friselis and the German team RMD.
Interesting to see Friselis here in the second division. I've seen them play first division here before and been quite up there in the European ranks historically, but maybe they've lost a few of their top players and decided to come out. But I do expect them to be quite a skilled team. And RMD, we saw earlier on the live stream, they have really some powerful players. Look out for number 37, Stefan, and number 29, Chris, both from Marburg. They seem to be two of the top playmakers on the team. Here RMD goes for the pull. The Friselis will start on offense.
Did the pull land inbounds before it went out?
He didn't call a brick, so I believe it landed inbounds, and he's going to take it on the end zone line.
It's number 88, Leonard, he's going to bring that to the front. Swing across towards that far sideline. Thinks about it deep, there's not quite an option there. Just off the receiver's hand, that's unfortunate for him. That's a Nicolas Perus.
Yeah, it looked like a really nice start to their offense. Unfortunately, they had to drop that one.
Yeah, it looks pretty fluid.
RMD here with the quick option for a break. We see 37 Stefan behind the disc. Usually he's out there making plays, catching it.
Yeah, Seppi bringing the disc in here.
A bit too much trust on Stefan there. He was not open.
No, it's not a good decision there. Maybe the first time it's not been open all weekend.
I think Friselis are quite a strong team. They're not going to make it easy for them.
JC gets the disc upfield. Martin Tardy is going to absolutely roast that one deep. And Leonard again catching the point for the goal. Good start for Friselis there.
Leonard seems to be a pretty big player for Friselis, doing a lot downfield for them. Great point. And if we can see that again.
Yeah, it wasn't a completely clean hold there. Did get a turnover, did Friselis, but they were able to earn it back through pretty tight up the line defense. Here's that shot again.
Great shot, great vision. Stefan gaining ground, gaining lots of ground, but throw is just perfectly put, unable to get there.
Nice read as well. It looked like Leonard wasn't quite going full pelt, so he could keep that defender on his shoulder and not get him a chance to really get into the play.
So we'll see if RMD can here hold their offense after that. Great point by Friselis to start.
Pierre Dumeng starting. Nice reset around the back. Finding Johan there, swing it into the centre. We still run that give-go really effectively in the earlier game. I think a bump on the mark when he was pivoting around for that inside-out backhand.
Lassa has the disc. Back to Chris. Up to Jedi.
Fakes upfield, swing it into the middle into tight coverage, but the defender wasn't quite aware of it, so it wasn't as risky throw as perhaps it seemed.
Back into the safe hands of Chris, probably the best handler on this RMD team.
It's a bit overthrown.
It's too bad there. Tiga did have, was able to get that. It wasn't the intended receiver, was able to come and close in on it, but the throw just sailed out of bounds.
Yeah, you saw him think about bending it. By the time he realised what he would have to do, his feet were already on the line, and by that point, if he did catch it, would have been too late.
So we'll see Friselis' D-line get the disc for the first time here.
Quentin Lebert is going to pick the disc up here on this sideline. Disc is swung into the middle.
Nice disc movement as the breeze picks up.
And Nissan here with the disc. He's going to find Sentu upfield. Just moving on. Reset again to Libero in the backfield. 76 now, Alexis Leonard in the backfield. Right to Anusu. Storkamp beginning to get high. He needs to isolate a receiver. Does so there. It's an Alexis Leonard.
I believe that was about to stall 8.5.
Just on the end zone line. Sneaking that little IO backhand through. The receiver running through onto it. Number 27, Pierre Dumeng.
Great offensive point there by Friselis once they got the turn. They were always dumping and swinging and then hitting open options off of those dumps. That's really impressive, really nice to see.
But it's that same option we've seen so many teams use so effectively today. That inside-out shot to the handler running through from behind the thrower. And teams make it look so easy, but it's actually got quite a high degree of difficulty on it.
So RMD bringing a very similar line to the line that they threw out the first point. Looks like they don't exactly have quite an O&D line there, kind of sending two different lines out regardless of which side of the disc they're on.
Yeah, maybe trying to get players who have a bit more combination with each other, a bit more experience knowing who's doing what.
Yeah, they are a combination of a few different cities from Frankfurt, Marburg, Gießen, all from Germany, coming together here for Tom's Tourney.
It's always nice when you see all these teams unite for a big occasion such as this. You can see how much it means to everyone.
But you can also see the difference here. Friselis, you can see, have a really great connection. They're just a solid club team. They've played together a lot more probably than RMD has.
Huge pivot around for that backhand. Just scything through the defense. No one had any shot at that with the exception of the receiver.
Amazing cut by Stefan, an amazing throw to get it to him. This is something that Friselis are going to have to figure out. We saw this in the last game. Stefan is just a complete deep threat. You're going to have to not let that be so easy for him.
Yeah, he's an absolute machine. But for me, this is all in the throw. Steps out nice and wide so that the mark can't get a piece of it.
Look at that.
Low release, just pings it deep, scything through that lane. There's no one there. But he just sits so nicely. And look, you can see Stefan ease up at the end because he knows he's just been given an absolute, been given it on a plate there, basically.
So there, the score is now 2-1. RMD is going to pull here, and we'll see if Friselis can make another nice offensive point or if RMD can put some pressure on, generate a D.
Seppi's going to pull from that far sideline for RMD. It's going to drop, but it's going to drop inbounds. 32 here, Dario Luciano. That lefty, nice around break with that flick. Good catch as well by number 20, Johan Michotti. Just swung into the middle to JC. A whole lot of pressure on that in cut. Cutter not phased by it though. Just go out on that far sideline.
Wind's picking up quite a bit, but the Friselis throws are just slicing through it. They don't have to seem to have any problem with it whatsoever.
Certainly not. Faking that around backhand.
And that generated that inside space.
Not quite in the end zone, but they are now.
Phenomenal work by Friselis on that offense. Their throws just slice through the wind. They're just finding an open spot. They never had to throw any difficult option there, except for maybe that one nice layout grab. They were just finding nice, easy options. Amazing team offense throughout that point.
Yeah, Leonard with the second goal of the game already. Scoring 2 out of the 3 points so far for Friselis.
So that brings the score to 3-1 for Friselis here early on in this Open Division 2 quarterfinal.
Yeah, good start to this final for the boys in blue here. Going to get another look at that. Just chasing this disc down here. We thought it might be slightly overthrown. But excellent play going low to the ground, getting his hand firmly on it, and having a strong enough grip so that when he hits the ground, it doesn't come loose.
And now you'll just see them slicing that IO break.
Just about gets there before the defender's bid can. But because his bid is on the ground and the continuation throw into the end zone is relatively straightforward. Although you can't take anything for granted at this level. Clouds beginning to cover over Bruges here for Tom's Tourney. Friselis go to pull to RMD.
Nice floaty pull.
Chris is going to catch that, center it to Lasse. Gives it that field to Hasa. Resets into Chris. Good to us. It's Bava here. Swing it down the sideline for David.
Nice movement there from RMD.
They are moving this so quickly. Friselis not quite sure what they're doing on defense. Unless they've transitioned now into a person look. There's Lassa. He and Barber working it on the back.
Dump to Chris.
This RMD team not afraid to lose yards in order to get the disc moving again. Got Hasa here on this near sideline. Chris is streaking through to the end zone for the goal. Completely lost his defender. Not quite what happened there. I think he's indicating that perhaps he was picked.
I see pick hand signals there.
He did seem very open.
He did seem pretty open.
Need to have a second viewing of that one, I think.
Looking here, here's where the cut happens. Indeed, there was a pick, though I do think he would have had those steps either way.
I agree with you, but I think the defender probably has it. I think he's well within his rights to call the pick there.
He can call the pick, but if he agrees that it wasn't going to affect that play, he can also say that the score will
He
stand.
can absolutely retract it as well, yeah. He's going to stand up, though.
Chris is definitely going to attack that strike cut again.
Ooh.
Yep.
Side against it, instead trying to reset the play, get it back towards the centre. Bubba with the disc now, he's going to dump it back to Chris. Hasa has it on that far sideline. Chris is getting a lot of work, getting it almost every other touch at times.
Here we have Tigga on the sideline.
Davies got it there right near the end zone. Thinks about that, throwing to that strike cut again. Instead takes the reset around to Chris. Oh, huge bid by the Friselis player. Comes up just short. Leaves the man free to go up line, but doesn't work.
A little too casual there on that grab. I think he could have come down with that easily.
Unlucky for Marjo. Just maybe a bit too lackadaisical with it.
And now Friselis here with a chance to break. They're going to put it up.
Yeah, it's Sensu who had that excellent bid.
4 people underneath it so far, and Chris able to D it.
Yeah, nice team defense. One tipping it and the other one catching it to make sure.
Nice.
Squeezing it down that sideline. Nice fancy footwork as well from Lasso as well. Trying to blade that in and just about gets it to Hasa.
Scala there nearly getting the D. Friselis really on fire here, trying to get as much pressure as they can.
Yeah, it's exciting, isn't it? Exciting. No team is letting the other have any easy throws. If these teams are going to score, they're going to have to work for it. It bodes well for the rest of the game, Ravi.
It's now 3-2. Friselis are still up. RMD playing great offense, but they're going to have to find a way to get a break on Friselis, which has not been easy for them so far.
There's that nice footwork we saw down the sideline. And then that slightly creative choice, that blade in there. The defender on the backside very nearly got in there, but can't quite time it right to disrupt the play.
Nice attack there. If he had held up even for a little bit longer, that defender definitely would have made a play on that.
Absolutely. And shows that the throw had just enough zip on it to get it into that window.
So Seppi again making a big pull. And it's going to be in.
Another good pull from RMD. Anusu, he gets the disc outfield here.
Big disc. Steffen's underneath it. Amazing grab.
Plucked out of the sky by Napa.
And they call the timeout on the end zone line.
So I think I mispronounced. I think it's Edward Grappa actually.
Wow, what a grab there, especially on a huge guy like Steffen guarding him. Maybe we can get a replay on that catch.
Yeah, posterizing 2 defenders with that one. Just pinpointing it out of the air. And then smart decision there to call the timeout. Here's another look. That big backhand. Guys, it just sails a bit more than he wants to think. 2 defenders around it.
Wow, amazing grab there.
Puts his name on that with authority. Gonna get that from this low angle here now. It's a really good position there.
I'm actually not the biggest fan of the timeout on the end zone line. I think, yeah, he had no options there, but you should get one person to get an easy dump, and then you'll have a one-on-one matchup in the end zone. This is something I see a lot from mid-level teams, and as I get to higher levels, people usually like to use their timeouts on points where they need to take a break, not in a place where they can get an easy power position. But Friselis taking their timeout here. The problem is that they are going to be able to set an end zone play, but now RMD is going to get a chance to really clamp down on defense.
Yeah, the advantage you gain from giving you a chance to reset, you also lose because the defense gets to reset as well.
For sure. But we'll see what kind of end zone look Friselis will do out here. Wonder if they're going to isolate someone in the middle of the field or just maybe play straight vert stack.
Well, most teams I find tend to use some form of isolation, knowing that in these small areas, if you can get someone matched one-on-one in space with the matchup you like, it's usually good to hit it.
So looks like they are coming out in a vert stack. Both teams are set. Stefan decided to take the mark here.
Rappan will inbounds the disc just shy of that end zone. And looking to swing it off that timeout.
And you see RMD able to generate pressure, but nice easy score for Friselis.
Yeah, the player beat his man to the open side.
Yeah, you can't get beat to that cone. So that brings the score to 4-2. Friselis extending their lead.
Yeah, I think it's number 21, Nicholas Petrus.
Getting in front of his man. It's still only been one break the Friselis have gotten so far. They started on 0, so they had the 1 point advantage to start. And they've generated one break, and that's been the only thing making the difference here so far. RMD in a bit of a hole. They're going to have to get 2 breaks to get back into this game. But they're going to have to start off with a nice offensive hold before.
Yeah, by no means is this game categorically over for RMD. There is plenty of time left, and it's still half an hour. So they can't give up now just because things aren't quite going their way yet.
Oh, definitely not. RMD putting some strong players out there. You see Chris, Tiga, Seppi, some of the players that are making a lot of big plays for them.
Absolutely, it's always interesting, especially when you get to the end of the day. How do you balance perhaps your best players with the players that perhaps a bit less fatigued?
It is do or die time though, bracket play.
Last game of the day, now you can have a nice cold beer afterwards.
Oh, they should. There's lots of nice beer here in Bruges.
Mm-hmm.
Brooks Zot is the official beer of Tom's Tourney. There's always plenty of that flowing. They always usually give a counter of how many kegs and how many beers that they've gone through in the tournament. It's usually a pretty astonishing amount.
I cannot even begin to fathom how much that is going to be. I feel like I have to do my bit with that as well. Chris not liking what he sees downfield.
Tiga getting shut down, but a nice throw. Dumps it back to Chris, to Seppi. And Chris just getting every other throw here, taking over the game a bit.
Yeah, Johan with the disc now on that far sideline. Gives it back to Chris. Running give go all the time. Oh, just about gets that first.
Yeah, and foul is called. Looks like there was a bit of contact on his hand.
Yeah, no contest it seems from the Friselis player, who is Clement Dumont. The man they call Psycho Patrick apparently in Friselis. Slasa with the disc. Swings it around to Chris. Bit of a
that is
on
a big disc.
But it drops gleefully into Seppi's hands. Swing to David. Right on that far sideline. He's going to rifle that IO flick into the end zone for the score.
Tiga's having a huge game here. Really important for RMD on their disc play. Chris there getting every other throw, but Tiga's always making sure that he's getting a nice option and able to advance the disc. And that rifle of a forehand, wow. That's what you got to do in these windy conditions when you get that option.
Yeah, he sees the window and he absolutely nails it in there.
Here's the big throw to Seppi again.
In throw onto that sideline.
And here we're going to see the inside break.
Just a blazing forehand there.
He had two people who could have a play on that disc. Sometimes it's dangerous, but RMD able to score that one.
I am a sucker for an inside-out forehand, and that is an absolute dime right there.
That brings a score to 4-3
to Friselis, I make it.
Friselis. So the question is, what can RMD do to shut down Friselis' O-line, generate a break?
I wonder if we see them come up with a slightly different defensive look. Maybe, even if it's not their primary goal, maybe just to disrupt, get Friselis out of a rhythm. Again, it looks like a person defense downfield. And the handler mark's just sagging off slightly, perhaps preventing big shots, trying to clog lanes downfield. Friselis having no problem with that at all. Gonna shoot that blading forehand deep.
Oh, what a nice grab there.
Another good catch by Michotte. He's had a couple of good grabs this game.
The throw was also pretty great.
Yeah, that forehand just arcing back in towards the receiver.
By Grappin. Here we'll see that throw again from Grappin. And just reading it beautifully. Going up with two hands strong.
Yeah, defender did not have a play at that at all.
Nice easy point. That brings a score to 5-3 for Friselis.
That's ideally what you want from the throws. Often they say that big highlights are caused by slightly dodgy throws.
Every great catch has a bad throw behind it.
Whereas that one doesn't look that great a catch because the throw is just out in front and the defender does not even have a chance at it.
Just able to go up strong with two hands, easy option.
That's what you want as a receiver. You don't want to even give the defense a sniff at any disc. Friselis stepping up to pull. Pierre Dumergue on the pull there. Chris is going to catch it. Swing it across.
Great grab by Chris there on the sideline.
Showing his fleet of foot there.
As Chris Tigger connection continuing.
On that far sideline now. Chris is absolutely running the show there on offense, getting the disc seemingly every other pass. Dom in the middle with the disc now.
Of course, Chris getting it again.
Nice throw to Johan here on this sideline. Friselis trying to force it back into the middle. Going to get it down on this sideline. Pivoting around, that is an absolute juicy, juicy peach in the back of the end zone.
What a phenomenal throw by Tigger there.
But it's going to be called back on a travel.
A travel is called. Let's see if we can get a replay on that.
Need to have a second shot of that.
See if if we agree with that travel call.
Regardless, it's an absolute gemstone of the throw.
Let's see here. His foot slid a little bit.
Yeah, looks like it might lift it up as he releases.
A little bit of a slide.
It's pretty tight. I don't think we can conclusively tell one way or the other. But it was called. This is going to go back.
Chris Tigger 1-2 punch continuing.
Disc a bit low. David can't quite get his hands around it, keep it off the ground. Friselis will pick up. Number 3, Quentin Lebert, walking towards the disc. Nice open underneath cut for Friselis. Working up pretty effectively. So it's going to go to Sentu. Sentu's got the disc back now. Calmly just popping it around the back. Doesn't matter that these are a couple of yard passes. Friselis are more than happy to oblige taking them. So again, beginning to rise. Alexis Lender with the disc now. As defender down the line, David goes to come up and get the poach.
These Friselis players are playing with a lot of energy.
You would not know this was their. You would not know this was their 4th game of the day. Nice high grab on that rising disc by Clement Dumergue.
Scala has it. Up the line pass. No continuation.
Dumergue fakes it into the end zone, perhaps indicating where he wants these cutters to go. The wind's beginning to pick up now. Got to be more so. Got to be really sure with these throws. Fakes that blade into that far corner. Instead chooses to reset the play. Martin Tardy now with the disc.
Over to Scala.
Guess the defender Chris to fall over on that vicious fake. There's a pick called in the stack downfield.
Nice defense by RMD here. They've really forced a lot of passes on this end zone line.
And I love this patience from Friselis as well.
It's good to see.
Determined not to rush it. So he's going to go to Tardy. On to Sentu. There's some nice little handle movement there. Take the around again, attacking down that break side. Continuation towards the middle, faking that high release. Sentu's got it right on the doorstep. Can he unlock the keys to the door? Not quite. Doesn't
Just
quite.
bit a little soon on that, I think. It's definitely catchable. It was a low disc.
Yeah,
I thought he was going to have it, just bounced out of his hands.
It certainly looked like for a time that he did have it covered. And actually started going down, doing everything right until the very last moment, it seemed.
So Chris walking it up to the side, to the end zone line.
Get a second chance at there. Yeah, I think it's a bit higher than he thought it was going to be. Almost goes off the top of his hand as we've got a timeout called here by RMD.
RMD working it well, playing good offense. We're gonna have a look and see what they're able to do. This is a pretty tough place to call a timeout as well, being in what's called coffin corner a lot of times. He's gonna be trapped on the end zone line.
Especially with the wind pushing towards the camera as well. Gonna take this little time when we've got a little break. I want to say happy birthday to one of the crew today. Casper, who's one of our cameramen, it's his birthday today. He's decided to come and celebrate it with us here at Tom's Tourney, all the way up there. I don't know if we can get a shot of him all the way around.
He's there working the camera up there. Happy birthday, Casper.
Right there in the rigging. Happy birthday, man. Thank you so much for spending it with us right here on the stream. Hope you had an excellent day, and we'll have an excellent night as well. Celebrating all the best of what Bruges has to offer.
He's staying for the party. It's definitely going to be a nice party. It'll be a great birthday party if he sticks around.
It's my kind of birthday party.
About 1,200 Ultimate players. What more could you ask for? Belgian beers.
That's a decent sized shindig, I'd say.
Not bad.
There are worse ways to spend it. RMD looking to get set off this timeout.
So I'm a little curious here, RMD. The Friselis are working really well as a whole team, and you can see with RMD that Tigga and Chris especially are doing a lot of the heavy lifting, and I wonder if they're going to be able to hold that throughout the whole game, or they're going to get fatigued a bit.
Yeah, when you do tend to get a couple of players having a lot of the workload, they do get mentally as well as physically tired. RMD coming out of a vertical set here, about 10 yards deep, set towards the middle of the pitch, giving themselves a big open side to attack. Friselis setting a little poach in this lane. Look like they're maybe perhaps forcing backhand, trying to get Chris to throw into the defender, their number 3, Quentin Lebert.
Indeed, it looks like a forced backhand.
Chris happy to take the reset there. Nice box on that catch by David. Johan's going to offload it to Chris. Doing a lot of the legwork here. This goes in the middle of the field.
Take a round break to David, up the line again. Nice continue on that break side, back to David.
Takes that backhand around to Chris.
Nice dump defense by Scala, and Chris able to stop him from getting a dump. Not an easy task at all.
This is going to go deep. Huge grab for RMD.
Tigga usually shooting those deep, now able to get it as well. Dangerous on both sides of the disc. That brings the score to 5-4. RMD definitely still in this game.
Yeah, ruling the skies there. Nice spirit as well from the defender, Santu. Nice slap of hands after knowing that the person who's marking just made an excellent play.
Here we see the disc going up again on the replay. Tiga just taking position. Has to go up strong with one hand. No problem. No problem at all.
Made it look a lot easier than it was, which is the sign of really good players. Close the gap now to 5-4 of the Germans. But they're still behind in this game and they've got to try and generate some more breaks from somewhere. Half an hour in, 20 minutes left, there's still time to do that.
The Friselis O-line has been pretty clinical. It's not easy to get a turn from them. And you can see now that RMD does not have Chris or Tiga in. And that's going to be, if they do get the turn, they're going to have to get some other people doing the heavy lifting to get that and generate that break.
Got Anisu here on the sideline. He finds the disc upfield. He's going to put that deep.
And Stefan's going to get that easily.
Yeah, read that one all the way.
Great opportunity for RMD if they can get this break here.
Reading from the same playbook, apparently. Well, that throw's going to sail on Stefan. He goes for the greatest attempt. I think it would have been valid had it been complete. But there's no one there to back him up.
Tough to tell if he was inbounds when he jumped from this angle.
Certainly, you love the hustle there, not letting that disc die, just in case there was a chance he could save it. Gisline Leonard's going to pick it up on that far side.
Dario with the around break.
Yeah, Petrus now with the disc. Just going to dish it off to Grappa. He's Dylan Anisu. Oh, the throw is slightly behind the intended receiver, Michotte. Sticks his hand out to try and reel it in, but it doesn't work.
Frizzli's looking a little bit more fatigued. Their offense really not able to click quite as much. Maybe RMD stepping the defense as well. Big shot here from Seppi to Stefan. And Stefan comes down with it. There's definitely some contact there. He is not happy with that. Grappin giving him his hand. Uncontested foul here. Let's see if RMD can punch it in and tie it up here. Big opportunity. They need to do this here, and they do.
Very efficiently and effectively.
Huge play from Stefan there. We saw him making those plays earlier today in the other game. He's able to do it now here. They were able to score that without Chris and Tiga. Shows that they have a bit more depth than maybe we thought they did. Great play from RMD. The score is now 5-5. Could be anybody's game in this open Division II quarterfinal.
This feels a lot like the game we saw RMD in earlier, where they perhaps they struggled a bit at the start, but once they got their feet under them, once they worked out what they needed to do for each game, they became very effective.
I mean, they are a team. You can tell that they don't have the best chemistry. They don't play with each other that much. They're a team from the region, but they do have some great athletes making huge plays, and that's what they're going to do to win this game. And that can be what happens, towards the end of the game. Friselis are a nice clinical team, but now that they're getting fatigued, that kind of wears off. Whereas the athleticism, that's hard to stop even late in the game.
Yeah, you might see a bit more what a lot of teams term trust ball from this point forward. Just trusting your athletic, powerful receivers to go and get these discs. RMD getting ready to pull. Seppi's going to pull to Friselis here. The team from Versailles.
Great pull right to the back of the end zone.
These pulls have been very solid all day. I think that's such an underrated aspect of so many teams' games. If you can get that effective, give your defense such a easier platform to work from.
Grappin here on the sideline, marked by David, able to get it around. Nice inside-out backhand there.
Thinks about that, but instead holsters it and goes short to Grappin. It's going to reset to JC. Oh, big bid coming around the outside shoulder. Does a very good job of avoiding most contact on that. Doesn't get the disc, but a nice bid anyway.
Grappin with a nice low disc.
Michotte has that now. He's going to find Santi.
Great movement from Friselis so far.
Yeah,
nice mark here. Really trying to up the pressure. Able to get it around though to Grappin with that low throw that he loves. He's throwing that every time, that low backhand.
Yeah, near the end zone, window's not quite there. Offense beginning to slow down a bit. Can they grind it out? Can they get that rhythm back in there? Just on the doorstep. Follows it through, and a nice layout bid from Michotte to bring that in and to help Friselis regain the lead.
Wasn't the prettiest final couple throws there from Friselis after a really clinical offense, but they've got the athletes to pick those throws up. They're able to keep their lead. It's now 6-5 on serve, even on breaks here. Going to get a nice another look here on the bid from Seppi to almost get that D. And here, the nice give and go for the score.
Yeah, the defender just doesn't track him. Perhaps maybe he would earlier in the day. At the end, doesn't quite have the energy.
It's a bit tough. You see that was a lefty backhand. Looks like the thrower was left-handed. That can sometimes mess you up when you're going for that mark on that one-on-one matchup. So Friselis is 6-5 here. This Open Division II quarterfinal.
It's another exciting game here on the live stream. About 15 minutes left, 1 point in it so far. Could have another sudden death game here.
Tom's Tourney, legendary for exciting games.
I think part of that is the short game format, where because every point matters, it almost seems like with longer games, often you can let yourself get a bit further behind. But with these, because you know that as soon as you drop a couple of points, you make the work so hard from yourself. There just seems to be almost a higher level of intensity.
Now we're going to see Chris and Tigga and Stefan, those three Marburg players that are three of the top players here on RMD, see what they can do. Chris gets it to Tigga and big shot to Stefan. Gets it down, no problem.
Nice clap catch there. He looks to continue it, but there's not quite the throw he wants into the end zone. Takes the wise move to just to reset backwards, get the offense, get set again.
Back to Chris. That nice give and go, center the disc, and Chris is going to get it again. A little bit of contact there. There's no call. He has the disc, no problem. There's a pick call. It's going to be back to Chris again.
Yeah, disc was reset.
Seems to be a bit of a discussion here as to where players need to be positioned after the pick.
Just working exactly who was picked and when.
Big mark here from Scala.
He's got quite a big frame and quite long limbs as well. Let's see if he can really put that to effective use here.
Trying to put pressure on the great handler of Chris. Over to Stefan. Moves it up the field to Dom.
Still count rising. Looking for Stefan, he makes a low grab for the goal.
Stefan again making huge plays, bringing it to 6-6. Still even. Exciting game here so far.
It is. It's a bit nerve-wracking, I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, a lot of the scores are on these little low layout passes, but in this wind, sometimes it's tough to get that disc to sail nicely. There you see Stefan's grab again.
I'd love to see a replay of that huck that went up to Stefan earlier in the point as well. It looked like it got a lot of blade on it early, but he positioned himself well. Went for two hands with the clap catch, and what I love is so often you see with players, they've always got one dominant hand on top when they clap catch, and when the throw's blade in like that, you can see you can get into a lot of trouble as you try and contort your hands around the disc. But he made the right move and got the right hand on top of them, and actually it was which was in that case the left hand on top, which meant that it was a fairly easy throw rather than trying to have his hands crossed over. It's a very small thing, which often seems insignificant, but it really does make a difference on those really tough blading catches like that.
Stefan appears to be a pretty experienced cutter, experienced catcher, ready to make the catch easy for himself in any way possible.
Absolutely.
Great pull here by RMD, right to the back of the end zone.
Seppi's pulls are majestic so far today.
Trying to put some pressure here. Friselis able to move it through. Grappin now close to the sideline. Able to get it around.
Yeah, resetting to Tardy. And now Anasu. He's got Santu. And now Grappin. Michotte now with the disc. Back to Grappin. Pivots around for a backhand, but there's nothing there.
Good on RMD, putting a lot of pressure here, not giving any easy options.
Yeah,
they really want to be in this game.
In the end, only a really short, tight pass to JC, but he runs the give-go there, getting the disc up the line. Window's beginning to close, has to look towards the dump. Still count rising, he's going to blade it across the end zone, and there's a bust somewhere. Everyone clamped down on the thrower, so anxious about him getting it on that open side, using that lefty advantage to good use with that blading forehand over the top. Sontu is wide open for the score.
Friselis will make it 7-6. Yeah, you'll see a lot of people crowding around that thrower, but that leaves somebody wide open for the score. Somebody must have dropped off of their matchup there.
Yeah, too busy worrying about, thinking about can they get the block and not focusing on what their assignment was. It's a mistake that we're all guilty of making sometimes, thinking you can be more helpful somewhere else. But the most important thing is to always make sure that you can get your job done first, and then if you can do that, then helping out elsewhere.
But I was really happy with the D there from RMD. They forced a lot of passes near the end zone. They did lose their matchup quite there a little bit. There's that catch from Stefan we were talking about earlier. He's able to get his hands out there and clap catch from the point to go.
We're going to see again back in. You can see he gets that left hand on top rather than the right hand.
Yeah, that would have been impossible to catch the other way.
But you see a lot of players make drops that way because they're so used to catching it with one hand on top, and it's something that people often don't forget to do. But when you're throwing around at home, have a think about how you catch that disc, and if you can, try and train yourself to get comfortable catching it both hands on top. Obviously not both hands on top at the same time. That would be physically impossible.
So here we see a great offensive look from RMD. They have Chris, Tigga, and Stefan all in. Those three dangerous guys from Marburg.
Good dump defense there, but
Scala.
Stefan comes through as a release valve.
Scala seems to have Chris's number. Powerful dump defender, trying to shut down and stop his involvement. But he is able to pop through there, up to Stefan.
Starts to look deep.
Stefan goes up the line to Tigga.
He's going to try and squeeze that into the back corner. Is it going to come back in bounds? I don't think it is.
That is a bit too difficult for them, RMD.
Yeah, just pushing the envelope a bit too much there, I think.
I don't think they really need to make that shot to score these points. They've got good players. You don't need to make it so difficult for yourself.
Yeah, I'd agree with you there.
So now we have some sideline support for RMD going over there. Seems to be a German women's team.
The men from Versailles will bring this in towards the front cone.
So Scala ready to bring it in.
Yeah, it went out before the end zone, and technically didn't come back in. The receiver was out of bounds when he got a touch on it.
That is correct.
This is where it originally left the field of play.
So Scala here with the disc.
Chris on the mark, getting nice and low, trying to force those throws high. See it through. Scala's got it back here with a chance to shoot for a goal. Decides to holster and blade over the top. You again from Friselis.
Phenomenal throw there by Scala. Nice blading throw right to his receiver. No chance RMD was going to get there. That brings the score to 8-6 for Friselis. Huge break for Friselis there.
Yeah, an innovative throw there. Friselis have been very effective actually utilising those little blades over the stack towards that dead space. This time he picks up Pierre Dumergue early. Spies it. There's actually not really that many defenders close to him either. Nice comfortable catch for a goal. There's clinical stuff there from Friselis.
There's about 6 minutes left in this game. It's going to be pretty tough for RMD to come back into this, but they have to get a nice quick hold here.
As long as you can hold this point now, even if the hooter went when Friselis were 8-7 up, as long as they broke back to tie it up, they'd get another chance at it. Chris and David signaling that RMD are ready to receive the ball. He's going to leave it for Chris to catch. Good decision to leave it there though, as it falls out of bounds in the end. So we hear the noise for 5 minutes left.
I see some chalk players here cheering on Friselis, trying to get them pumped up to win this game.
Cheering on their compatriots.
Chris walking it up comfortably. What a throw there to Stefan.
Yeah, using the high release, knowing that his receiver's got the matchup advantage there and it doesn't matter if it floats a bit. Trusting him to bring it down.
Give go from Chris and Stefan here. Two players that clearly know each other pretty well.
He's going to zing that down the sideline. Just on the end zone line though for David. He's going to reset that back to Stefan.
Stall count is getting high. Seems to be a pick call.
Yeah, I think Chris knew it instantly as well, but doing the right thing there by making sure he caught it, just in case.
Rapin here taking the Chris matchup. Scala kind of had a really good number on him before.
This sideline getting loud now for Friselis. Nice reset off back to Chris. Dump set a bit clustered. Stefan merges through though. He's going to burn back up line. Chris decides not to take it though. He's got Seppi under that time. Looking for the IO in, just shy. Not that time.
That brings a score to 8-7, and it was before the horn, so this game is still live. RMD is going to have to bring some great defense. That was amazing play on their offense. They were able to center the disc, and they get a nice, easy swing for the score.
Yeah, nice patience. Once again, just showing that comfortability to keep recycling it through that handler set, trying to get those quick players to burn their man up line, and when it's not there, utilising the fact that the forces come round to try and stop that throw, to get that swing back in towards the middle of the pitch. That's how you want to run that movement there.
Friselis here in a comfortable position. They just have to hold this to win, but sometimes, you know, the time gets there and you get a little bit antsy. We'll see how if they're able to keep their composure and play their really energetic, clean, crisp offense.
You're only a couple minutes left here. We're getting very, very close to crunch time.
You see here
the dump already.
The swing to Stefan, and then he's able to get that nice around pass for the score.
So many tall, rangy players like that. You see be very good in the air, but as throwers, they don't necessarily utilise all their length effectively. He does very well. Nice wide pivot, releasing that at full extension as well. Really making it difficult for the mark, meaning they have to cover so much ground that it's nigh on impossible to stop breaks.
So we've got Seppi, we've got Stefan, we've got Tiga out here. They really want to get this break. Big pull from Stefan. Is it going to stay in? Dario's going to pick it up. Disc is centered.
3-4 horizontal look here for Friselis. JC's got the disc now. Doesn't like what he sees. Motions for someone to come under. Grappan obliges. Just right on the sideline, resets his feet. Nice break back into the middle for Luciano. Throw is low.
Someone is calling it down.
It was very tight.
On my viewing, I believe he got his hands on it before the disc hit the ground. Let's see what we can see it on the replay.
Yeah, would need to have another look at it to be sure.
It is being called up.
Yeah, the players are happy for it to continue.
Disc is back in.
I think in the cases where you're not sure, I think giving the benefit of doubt is probably the right call on things like that. JC's got it underneath. Chiswick just swinging around to Grappan as the pick called. Didn't affect that original throw though. Just going to stay where it is.
The amount of energy some of these Friselis players put into their fakes in this stage of the game is really impressive to me.
That's why they've been able to break the force so efficiently, because if you can put real purpose and snap into these fakes, these defenders really do think they're going to go. I think one of the problems a lot of newer players have is that because they know they're not throwing it, no one's ever convinced. Huge bid by Seppi, he's going to come short.
Scala's going to catch that, make it 9-7. I'm not sure if the time went off yet.
They're continuing to play, so it looks like it hasn't quite gone off yet. So unless they can score unless RMD can score pretty much instantly, I'm afraid it's going to be game over for the Germans.
I were RMD here. I just get the disc to Chris, launch a deep to Stefan, and see if they can get it with him before the time goes off.
Yeah, they do say you can never write off the Germans, though. Let's see if that applies here.
And that's the end jingle, so this will be the end of the game. There'll be one more point, but it's not really going to matter.
No.
Friselis here will move on to semifinals in the second division of Open Tournament here in Tom's Tourney 2017. There's the replay.
Ooh, I'm not sure.
It's tough to see there. There's the big bid from Seppi again.
That's what we talked about earlier, though. Making that big bid, you do leave the defense a bit compromised because you can't put the mark on.
So here's the pull for the final point here. Chris is going to get it to Tiga.
Thinks about boosting it, decides against it. Gets the disc here from Stefan. Chris is going to go up line and a nice hand block for the Friselis player.
Scala having a really big game, doing a lot on defense. He was shutting down Chris earlier. There he gets a hand block on Tiga.
Hopefully you can hear that on the stream as well. A really just satisfying noise it made as well.
Friselis here with a chance to just close it out.
Looking big early, deciding against it. Going to try and work this in instead.
Nice big fake up the field to get the easy around pass after it.
Dom puts the pressure on the mark. Getting really active on that force, not letting him have any easy throws even though the game is going to be over. I like that. I like that hustle. I like the respect as well to continue playing right the way to the end.
Hammer fake over to Scala. Scala with the scuba.
Lovely little cheeky throw there.
Gonna finish this game in style.
I'm all in favour. Still count rising. Gives off to Scala.
Let's see if he can have one of these visionary throws again for the score. No, instead a nice easy pass up the field. Nice D from Chris there to poach, but he left his guy open for the score. So Friselis take it 10-7. They will move on to semifinals in the second division.
Yeah, Clermont Demergue putting the finishing touches on what turns out to be a 10-7 win in a thoroughly entertaining game here at Tom's Tourney.
That was really tight right until the end there, and Friselis just able to turn up the defensive pressure, get a few breaks in the end of the game. Well-deserved victory from Friselis, but RMD put up a great fight. So that'll do it here for coverage at Tom's Tourney here for Saturday play. We'll be back tomorrow with some semifinal matchups. Lots of great games. Please tune in, share with your friends, get as many people watching this as possible.
See you tomorrow.